So what if you could just download 17 years of marketing mastery? I'm talking all the wins, the losses, the really hard-won lessons, and get it all in the next 5 minutes. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We're distilling a whole career's worth of wisdom into a super clear, actionable roadmap. You ready? Let's dive in.
Okay, but why should you listen? Fair question. It's because the person behind these insights has generated, get this, over 7.8 times billion dollars in sales for his clients. And that's across more than 1,000 different industries. So, this isn't some textbook theory. This is real-world, battlefield-tested stuff. This is the kind of experience that buys you a shortcut, for sure.
All right, so here's the roadmap for today. It's 5 simple steps. First, we're going to nail the foundation. Then, we'll choose our weapons. After that, it's all about crafting the message, then building the growth engine, and finally, learning how to play the long game. Simple as that.
All right, first up, nailing the foundation. Seriously, before you spend even $1 on ads or write a single line of copy, you have to get this part right. It's the bedrock. Everything else is built on top of this.
So you've probably heard this debate a million times, right? The classic showdown. In one corner, you've got the product people, the if you build it, they will come crowd. And in the other corner, you've got the marketing wizards who swear they can sell anything to anyone. So, who's right?
Well, the truth is, it's a total trap. It's a false choice. The real answer is, it's both. A great product with no marketing, that's just a well-kept secret. And brilliant marketing for a terrible product, you're just speeding up your failure. The only way to really, truly scale is to be a master of both, period.
In this quote, this one really gets to the heart of it. So many people try to come up with a convincing argument. You're basically trying to create desire out of thin air. It's exhausting. The smarter way is to find a burning problem, to find a starving market. You're not trying to convince they're hungry, you're just showing up with a hamburger stand. It's about tapping into a river of desire that's already flowing.
Okay, so with that foundation in place, it's time to move on to Section 2, choosing your weapons. And look, this isn't about chasing the latest shiny tactic. This is about making the big, fundamental choices that are going to define how you grow from here on out. So your first big choice is this: direct response or brand marketing. Direct response is pretty simple. It's asking for action right now. Click here, buy now, call us. Brand marketing, on the other hand, is the long game. It's about building a feeling, a perception. And here's the kicker. Even a giant like Apple, probably the biggest brand on the planet, didn't start with branding. They started with direct response, literally cold calling computer stores to make sales. And that's the key takeaway right there. You have to earn the right to build a brand. You start with direct response because it brings in cash. Then you take that cash and you pour it back into making your product better, making your service better. That amazing experience, that's what builds your brand. And guess what? A strong brand makes all your direct response stuff work even better. It's this incredible, powerful flywheel.
All right, next big decision, paid ads versus organic content. And we got to reframe this. It's not about free versus costly, because they both have a cost. Paid ads cost you money, obviously. But organic content, that costs you your time. And time is a resource you can't get back. So the real question isn't free or paid, it's which resource am I spending right now? My money or my time?
So the smart, modern way to do this is to not even choose. You make them partners. Think of your organic content as your free R&D department. It's your testing ground. You throw stuff out there, see what messages resonate, which hooks really grab people. And then, when you find a winner, that's when you bring in the paid ads and pour gasoline on the fire to amplify what you already know works.
Okay, let's move on to Section 3, crafting your message. So, we've got our foundation, we've picked our weapons. Now for the really tricky part. How do we actually get heard in a world that is just screaming for our attention 24/7?
This chart right here is exactly why your message is so critical. Look at this. In any market, at any given time, only about 3% of people are actively ready to buy. Just 3%. The other 97% are somewhere else entirely. So your message has to be smart. It can't just be buy now. It needs to speak to that whole pie, especially that massive 60% chunk who don't even realize they have a problem yet. So how on earth do you do that? You do it with great storytelling, and it really comes down to these 4 pillars. First, you've got to crystallize your own thoughts. If you're confused, they'll be confused. Second, write with absolute clarity. We're talking 6th grade reading level simple.
Third, you have to master your hooks. If you don't get them in the first 3 seconds, you've lost. And finally, maybe the most important one, focus on saying the right thing. It's not about being clever, it's about being effective.
And you have to remember this. You're not just competing with other businesses in your space. Nope, you're competing with Netflix. You're competing with Instagram. You're competing with a text from their best friend. Your first sale isn't your product, it's for their attention. And if your marketing isn't more interesting than the next scroll, you're dead before you even start.
Which brings us to section 4, build the growth engine. Okay, we've talked about the art of marketing with the messaging. Now we're getting into the hard science, the numbers, and the mechanics that actually let you scale.
And this quote nails the single most important metric for growth. It's not about your cost per click, it's not about your conversion rate, it's about the lifetime value of a customer, LTV. The real game isn't just about getting a customer, it's about how much that customer is worth to you over their entire relationship with your business. This one idea creates 2 totally different kinds of businesses. If you're focused on customer acquisition cost, or CAC, you spend all your time chasing ad hacks and split testing button colors. But if you focus on LTV, you're forced to ask much better questions. Questions like, how can I make my product so good they never leave? How can I create an experience that makes them want to buy more? And here's the secret weapon. When you know your LTV is higher than your competitors, you can literally afford to outspend them to acquire every customer in the market.
And to make that shift in thinking, you have to go from being a chef to being a business builder. Think about it. The chef is the master practitioner. They're amazing at what they do, but they're stuck in the business, cooking every meal. The business builder steps back. They work on the business, focusing only on the big picture stuff that actually brings in revenue. This is the only way to escape that trap where you're just overworked and underpaid.
And all of that brings us to our final and honestly most powerful section. Play the long game. This is the mindset shift that separates a quick win from building something that lasts, something like real generational wealth.
See, it really boils down to 2 types of money. You've got quick, fast money. It's tempting, right? But it's also a super crowded space where everyone is fighting over scraps. Then you've got big, slow money. This is where the real fortunes are made. I mean, just think about Amazon. They lost money for almost a decade while they built an empire. They were playing a game so long that nobody else could or would even try to compete.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The fishing is best where the fewest go. The biggest rewards are always in the places nobody else is looking. And you know where almost no one is looking today? They're not looking at timelines measured in decades, they're looking at days or weeks. So in a world obsessed with right now, patience, that becomes your ultimate unfair advantage.
So, I'll leave you with this question to really think about. If it's true that the best fishing is where the fewest people go, what long-term game can you start playing today? What's the one thing you could commit to that everyone else around you is just too impatient to even try?